It's Dena Takruri, and I'm out here in Pasadena, California, near Los Angeles, where Black Lives Matter activist Jasmine Richards has just been sentenced for a charge she was convicted of last week, a charge formerly known as attempted lynching. Yeah, you heard that right. The charge was because she was accused of pulling someone away from police custody. This is a charge that was historically used against lynching mobs when they grabbed black people out of police custody to lynch them. So the very fact that she's the first black person to ever be charged, even tried with this, everyone here has been calling gross miscarriage of justice and a perversion of justice. The sentence just came down. She was facing 1 to 4 years. Her sentence is 90 days, 18 days credit served, and 3 years of probation. I'm here with two members of the Black Lives Matter community in Los Angeles. They're also both Professor James and Professor Radcliffe. Let me just start with you. You guys were in the court. What is your reaction to this, to the sentence? We heard some people call it a partial victory.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to figure out. We're happy that she didn't get the 4 years. We know that was something that they could have did. The fact that they started with probation, which is good, that she's able to have probation, which is important, but she still has had to serve 90 days. So we're not fully happy with that, and we want to definitely appeal this. But we know that, because of the outpouring of everybody here, of this over 100,000 signatures on petitions, those were all big things that helped to make the judge recognize that, the 4 years was just not an option.
Yeah.
And so we're happy that we got the 90 days, but we still believe that she should have time served, and she should have been able to leave today. So we're still going to fight to make sure she can get out.
Definitely. You mentioned all the people here. There have been hundreds of people here all morning from all walks of life, very different coalitions, all chanting free Jasmine Richards. What they see carried out here is, as I said earlier, gross miscarriage of justice. The very fact that she was charged with something that up until very recently had been called lynching, and she is a black woman. Can I just get you to comment on what many people have called the absurdity of that?
It is absolutely absurd. One has to recall that the whole purpose of lynching was not only to punish the offender, usually for the crime of daring to resist oppression, but it was also to warn communities away from standing up for their own rights and their own humanity. The bodies were left swinging for a reason, and that was to oppress political, personal freedom. This is what happened today. Today, this activist was prosecuted under this absurd, not an absurd law. The law is not absurd. It was an absurdity that she was prosecuted under it. And so the injustice of that prosecution and certainly conviction weighs quite heavily on us, even though we claim a partial victory because of the people's resistance.
Just for some background on Jasmine Richards, for anybody who's tuning in right now, Jasmine Richards is the 28-year-old founder of Black Lives Matter here in Pasadena, very, very active in the community in terms of organizing, also very vocal when it came to police brutality, very challenging of the system. And so what a lot of the people that we've spoken here have said is that she was a target of the Pasadena police, and members of Black Lives Matter have called her the first political prisoner of Black Lives Matter. So I want to ask you guys, what message does this send to you guys as a community?
It sends a message that we must be prepared for the power of the state to be fully willing to suppress political dissent, and that we must be willing to stand and to gather others to stand with us. In some ways, it actually encourages me. The fact of all of these people out here united in their opposition to the atrocity really absolutely balances for me the absurd sign of this prosecution as well as the absurdity of Donald Trump and the like. There are many of us, and we will not be defeated. We are part of an unbroken chain of resistance, and we will absolutely continue to uphold that tradition.
We know that this country has a legacy of targeting civil rights activists, moving back to Martin Luther King Jr.'s day, Malcolm X. Is that going on right now today with Black Lives Matter?
Yes.
We definitely think so. We think that, Jasmine, when she was arrested, she wasn't arrested on the day it happened, but she was picked up a couple days later. But we understand that during the time when the so-called riot and the so-called lynching took place, actually they'd been focused on her the whole time. Like, there were actually police cars there for 4 hours. They had a peace march beforehand. So the police were there the whole time. There were helicopters overhead. And so there was definitely an antagonistic attitude towards Jasmine, because she's been very outspoken about Kendrick McDade, who was killed here in Pasadena. And so because of that, they saw her as a threat.
Kendrick McDade, of course, was unarmed African-American who was for him in the park, unrelated to the incident that took place.
Definitely. And so, it's just, she had been out there and she'd been very vocal and she had been very militant. And she's so inspirational. She could talk to all different sectors of society. She could go to the universities and reach the students and the professors. She can go to the community, to the hood, if you will, and talk to people and get people to move. And I think they see her as a threat.
And particularly with young people.
Young people.
She's amazing with young people. And,
definitely.
And she would energize people that had never been involved in any kind of political protest or march or anything to become so. She's an amazing young woman, and I'm proud to stand up for her and with her. And we want her home. Free Jasmine.
Free Jasmine.
I just want to say one more thing. For anyone who's unfamiliar with the story of Jasmine Richards, we're out here today where she has just been sentenced in Pasadena. We did a video earlier on AJ Plus. Folks back in San Francisco will link it in the comments right now. But I heard something, and that is the prosecutor in the courtroom compared Black Lives Matter to the KKK.
Yeah, during her closing arguments, she was saying that what happened was no different than what she did was no different than what the KKK did, right? And so it's this idea of trying to malign and, like the word terrorist was used a couple times, a lot of different things to make Black Lives Matter look like it's just, this anti-human organization. And so that's what I think the prosecutor tried to do. It worked for a lot of the jurors, but actually one juror number 6, came back and said, even though he wanted and actually got her to be guilty, he regrets that and he wanted to have the least amount of sentence. So he understood what he did was problematic, and so it was good to hear that he was in support of Jasmine after that.
We know one other thing from this case. When the conviction came down 1 week ago, there was a lot of criticism to the fact that none of her peers on the jury were African American, despite the fact that 13% of Pasadena is black. Not one black juror was serving on that jury. Is that problematic in your eyes?
It's always problematic. It's really easy in cases like this, it seems, to exclude blacks from serving on juries, and yet it doesn't seem to be so easy to exclude whites. It reminds me really of the Trump's comment about his judge being Mexican American. Somehow race makes you unable to do your job as a judge or a citizen, but whites are exempt, from that.
Yeah.
So it's really, really problematic message to send, and this was an unjust prosecution and unjust conviction. Absolutely, it will be appealed, and we will not stop resisting political oppression, and Black Lives Matter. We have the right to protect that.
And one more thing, we want to make sure that everybody knows that Jackie Lacey, who's the district attorney of the county of Los Angeles, had the power to intervene in this. She could have came in and said, no time. She could have said, we're not going to bring this to trial.
Absolutely.
But she didn't do that. So we want to make people know, right now she's running unopposed, right? So today she's on the ballot unopposed, but we're not going to sit back and we demand that she intervenes, or we're going to get people out there to make sure that no one votes for her come in November, because right now she has nobody to run against. I guess if she wins today, she might actually be the district attorney, right?
Yeah.
Right. So we still, if you haven't voted yet, and you're in Los Angeles County, go out there and put no confidence.
That's
don't
right.
vote for her.
No confidence.
I'm not going to vote for her, so I think I'm suggesting people don't vote for her as well.
Yeah, the significance of this day being California's primary day definitely hasn't been lost upon the folks here who are, as they're saying, exercising their right to democracy. Professor James, Professor Radcliffe, thank you so much. Members of Black Lives Matter LA, as well as professors in the area.
Yes.
Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you.
Can you tell the audience, for the people that are not joining with us?
For those who are just tuning in right now, we're in Pasadena, California, which is in the greater Los... There's a lot of beeping of support right there. Pasadena, California, in the greater Los Angeles County, where Black Lives Matter activist Jasmine Richards has just received her sentence of 90 days in jail with 18 days credit that has already been served. She had been convicted of a charge formerly known, or up until recently called, felony lynching. A law that was meant to protect people. It was put on the books in the 1930s, meant to protect black people who were yanked out of police custody by white lynching mobs, who of course then proceeded to hang them, beat them, burn them, everything. So the very fact that this charge was brought against her for allegedly attempting to pull a girl out of police custody back in August 2015, folks here called absurd, a perversion of justice, and disgustingly ironic. The sentence just came down. Folks here are calling it a partial victory. Of course, they believe she deserves no jail time. She will get 90 days of jail time, 18 days already served, and 3 years of probation. What they're hoping for is that it will ultimately be appealed and reversed. If you guys want to get a sense of the scene, I'll just have Shadi, who's with me right now. Shadi, hear me just walk around to show you. I'm going to get in the street and I'll probably get yelled at. We're just going to walk here really quickly. Okay, on the left side. There are hundreds of people from all walks of life. Very, very broad coalition of people who've been here since more than 2.5 hours, all morning long, chanting "Free Jasmine," "Black Lives Matter," "Free Jasmine." They want to see her free.
Street. Okay, so start with, I start with the building first. Yeah, I know, I'm just trying to see.
Alright, so as you can see, the mood is a little bit more celebratory now than it has been all morning, of course, because the sentence is not as harsh as was previously expected. She could have been facing up to 1 to 4 years in prison for this felony. She's been given a sentence of 90 days. So as you can see, folks here are kind of celebratory. They haven't gone anywhere. Just let it roll anymore.
Building Street, building Street, building Street, Street.
Here we go now. 5, 6, 7, 8. Building Street, building Street, building Street, Street, building Street, building Street, building Street, Street. That's the biggie. All right, here we go now.
I have Miranda here, and she's with Black Lives Matter Los Angeles. Miranda, can you just give me your reaction to the sentence today?
It's very, it's still disheartening to see that she was actually prosecuted. These charges are not likely, but I really believe in the power of the people, and I know that it could have been fair much worse for her. And so I'm encouraged, because this is something that's not being hid. This is something that everybody is able to see out in the open, what's really taking place with people who stand up for black lives and black bodies. So my heart is still hurting by this, but I'm still, I'm some courage. You know, you have people here that are praying in all different languages.
It's kind of emotional to see, huh?
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
It's very powerful to see how you stand up for other lives. So I'm encouraged. My heart is still for Jasmine. But I definitely I'm touched by what I've seen today. But we must not stop. Jasmine is definitely free Jasmine, but what we're out here doing is bigger than that. What took place with her, she was an example of the political opposition to what we're doing. So it's much more bigger than just us saying free Jasmine. It's really saying free fucking people and stop allowing our bodies to be slaughtered on these streets in the way they are. And to stand with us and it's not just getting rid of all of these police, it's saying the whole damn system is guilty as hell and we need to demolish it and get rid of it. So
it's definitely a powerful atmosphere. I definitely feel you. Just the amount of support and the diverse amount of support. It's kind of getting loud. Should we step down here?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
She first wanted you to comment on the joy, black joy. There you go.
Just the use of dance and music.
So what you're able to see right now is that even in the face of getting a partial sentence of what we got, there's nothing ever able to hold us down, because this is what has always liberated us, is our black joy. When we were forced, when we were kidnapped, when we were taken away, and we were given the unjust sentences that we got today, we still are able to say no one's able to determine what our joy looks like. And that's what this is. That's what is taking place right now. It's us saying that we are always going to be free, and we're not waiting for no one else to tell us what that free looks like.
Let me show that. 1 second. Where's all these?
first political prisoner of Black Lives Matter. For anyone who doesn't have any background on the story, AJ Plus did cover this a few days ago. We will link it in the comments. Again, please link it again, folks in San Francisco. And so just getting a sense of the scene, very diverse. A lot of people have been out here for hours supporting Jasmine Richards, chanting free Jasmine Richards, saying that she was a target of the Pasadena police and the target of challenging the police violence that is oftentimes afflicted upon Black communities. All morning they've been saying that Black lives need to be treated with respect and with dignity, and that is so often not the case when it comes to the police, including the Pasadena police. We just want to walk a little bit more. I know that...
There's Daryl. There's Daryl.
Oh, hey Daryl. Go ahead, Shadi.
Stay with us.
Do you want to take me? So, May, this is May El Hassan.
Hi.
She's also a member of the community here, and she's gonna...
We're gonna go and see Patrice. We're gonna go see Patrice, Black Lives Matter co-founder Patrice Colors, and have a conversation with her. There's Patrice.
So just tell us who we're going to talk to,
Yes.
or have her tell us who we're going to
Yeah,
talk
so May, you're out here. You're obviously in solidarity. What is your... First of all, what brought you out here in the first place?
Well, I've been working in the community around social justice issues for decades, and I've been in solidarity and in allyship with Black Lives Matter, and actually I ended up co-organizing a trip with Ahmed Abu Zunayd to take Black Lives Matter activists to Palestine, and I became close with Patrice Colors, so she's become a dear friend of mine. She's co-founder of Black Lives Matter, a hardcore organizer here around prison abolition. She's been doing that for decades. This organization, Dignity and Power Now, which is based in Los Angeles, is one that she founded as well. Mm-hmm. So this is Patrice's life's work, and she's out here today, and hopefully you get a chance to...
Done. Are you guys done talking to her? Or are you? Okay, cool. Hi, Patrice. We're live on AJ Plus. I'm Dena Takruri. Nice to meet you. Thank you for speaking to us. If I could just get your reaction real quick to the sentencing that we heard.
I'm gonna say this is a partial victory. In our current political climate, we would have seen Jasmine Richards get prison time. The difference between prison time and jail time means under a year. Prison time means going to state prison, getting a state prison sentence. Jasmine did not receive that, and she couldn't. So 90 days of jail time is not what we wanted. We wanted her to be released today. She shouldn't have been convicted in the first place. But with that, it is important to say that it's because we were able to gather 80,000 signatures, get letters from across the country, bring out hundreds of people, that the judge herself was clear that Jasmine did not deserve 6 months jail time, which is what the prosecution wanted. Another victory that I will say is Jasmine organizes at the park in Northland, Pasadena. That park is the headquarters for Black people in Pasadena. And the prosecution was saying they wanted her to stay away from that park. They're ordering a stay away order. Obviously, defense rebutted that, and the judge said, actually, Jasmine, you are allowed to go back to that park. And she broke down in tears, because that's where she has both loved and lived and played and worked with her community. So to take that from her is like taking the spirit of BLM Pasadena away.
For those who are unfamiliar and don't really have the necessary background on the case, can you explain what exactly she was accused of? And also, what is the significance of pulling your people away from police when it comes to the Black community?
So Jasmine was convicted of attempted lynching, which is a law that was really developed and created to protect Black people. It was a law that was developed and created so that when white mobs were literally pulling Black people out of police custody and trying to, police trying to keep Black people safe, and white people were pulling them out of the mob, it was supposed to protect us from white mobs. So to say that she was lynching somebody is not just ironic, it's dangerous. And she was facing anywhere from 6 months of jail time to 4 years of state prison time. And what we saw today was, I think, the power of Black folks and our allies coming together and saying, we're not going to allow this. We're not going to allow for this Black woman to face prison time. We think she should have come home, but when she gets home, which will probably be in about 30 days, we better believe that Jasmine will be back out in the streets organizing BLM Pasadena.
We heard a lot of impassioned speakers this morning, and one of them, the pastor, I believe, was saying that this is the American injustice system, and he was speaking about Brock Turner, the Stanford University student, the white one, the swimmer who raped a woman and received a lenient 6-month sentence, and he was comparing that to what Jasmine is facing and could be facing. Do you have any comments on that?
You know, what I will say is I'm an abolitionist. I believe that the current prison system and police system is just sort of perpetuating what we've had, enslavement in this country. And so what I do think we should be doing is calling for a complete overhaul of the system. I do think what we should be doing is really challenging and pushing the narrative of public safety. Public safety is not a badge and a gun. Public safety is our ability to organize our communities, our ability to have access to jobs, access to healthcare, access to food. I will say that what we do see over and over again is Black people being convicted of both crimes we have not done. We see 2.3 million Black prisoners in the United States. 1 million of them are Black people. This is not a coincidence. And so it is our work as abolitionists to undo the systems and the laws that are in direct contradiction to Black people's survival.
So I want to give a chance if there's any audience members, since we are live right now with one of the co-founders of Black Lives Matter, Patrice Cullors. Am I saying that right? Patrice Cullors. If you want to ask her a question, I don't know, Shadi, you've been looking at the comments.
There's a bit of a delay, so maybe
there's a bit of a delay. So I'll ask a question in the meantime. And this is a conversation we're hearing a lot around here right now, and that is, you know, as Black Lives Matter has risen to the level of national prominence as it has right now, we're hearing that Jasmine Richards, people are saying, is a political prisoner.
Yeah.
And we're hearing about activists being targeted by the police. Do you, as you know, active as you are, at all feel targeted, or that you're under some sort of microscope from the state?
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, in the first couple years of that organizing, my home was raided twice by LAPD.
What year was that?
2013 and 2014. And in those raids, they came with riot gear, you know, made claims that our home, someone had come past our home with a gun. The second claim was there was a person on the loose in the community, and they had, you know, ran past our home. And not only did they raid our home, right afterwards they took pictures of my home, both inside and outside. In this current movement moment, we know that we're being surveilled. We know Black Lives Matter activists, organizers, protesters, we are being surveilled. That's not a secret. It's been written about. There's been many articles that have sort of highlighted how and why we're being surveilled. But surveillance is not a new thing. Black people have been surveilled since the moment we were brought here. Surveillance is a way of repressing us. And, you know, when I first started being surveilled, I talked to one of my homeboys, and he was like, this is a part of your life now. And it's not about trying to hide it. And so every time there's any sort of display of surveillance or repression, I go to social media and I put it out there, and I make sure that the community knows what's happening to each community member. And that's what Jasmine has done. I think that's what this movement has done. It has made the invisible visible. And I think it's important, you know, as we're talking about Jasmine Richards, who likes to be called Jasmine Abdullah, is to talk about Waukesha Wilson, a Black woman who was arrested and put in LAPD police custody and then was found dead. Mother was not notified. She had to call police station over and over again, and eventually the coroner called her and let her know that her daughter was killed. Wow. And she actually, we know what happened. I'm sorry, I said killed. She committed suicide. I put that in quotes. We know what happened. It's the Los Angeles case of Sandra Bland, right? And so we are in this moment where LA and LAPD and the LA Sheriff's Department has tortured, killed, brutalized, harassed, and terrorized Black people in this county. And this case allows for us to have a much broader conversation.
Thank you so much. If you're just tuning in right now, I'm talking to Patrice Cullors, who is one of the 3 co-founders of Black Lives Matter. We're in Pasadena outside of the Superior Court where Black Lives Matter Pasadena activist Jasmine Richards just received her sentence of 90 days. So folks out here are calling it a partial victory. It's definitely calming down a bit. Maybe there's a speaker over there. I'm not quite sure what's going on. Thank you so much, Patrice, for talking to us. Was there a question for her?
Yeah, so can we just end our broadcast with one question to you?
Perfect.
So we have a question from viewer Lauren Ashley, and she wants to know, what can we do in our community to help the movement? There was a question right before her where a Latino viewer was asking what can Latinos do. So I think it's sort of like a lot of the audience members are wondering what they can do to support.
What I'll say to Black activists is join a local chapter. At this point, we're at 40 plus. What I'll say to folks who you don't have a chapter, start a chapter, and we'll help assist you with that. You can find us at blacklivesmatter@gmail.com. Send us a direct email, blacklivesmatter.com. You can send us an email through our website. And then what I'll say for allies, join or start ally support groups. There are dozens across the country where allies of Black people have come together in support of Black lives. And we've seen many examples, whether that's allies coming together to help with logistics for actions, to help bring their comrades together to get signatures for Jasmine. We had, I think, over 20,000 API folks sign.
Can you clarify what API
is?
Yeah,
Asia Pacific Island. We had 20,000 Asia Pacific Islanders sign a petition in support of Jasmine being freed and no jail time. And so there are ways in which allies can start getting information to develop and create a narrative that's for Black lives culturally, but also concretely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Patrice. Speaking of allies, we've been hearing honks all day of allies supporting Jasmine Richards. Okay, I'm going to wrap up right now. Dena Takruri out here with Shadi Rahimi and my colleague Daryl Medina. We've been broadcasting outside of Pasadena's courthouse where Jasmine Richards received her sentence. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you watch the rest of our coverage on AJ Plus all day. Go vote. It's primary.